Okay, so what I started doing lately is because I travel a lot due to school, being a taxi for my children that I love so much. So of course I will do anything for them. My volunteer work and then my own recovery. I'm just always driving. So in order to get my thoughts out, I have to just get them out. And right now this is the best thing working for me. And I got over the fact of what people would say. I just don't care what people have to say anymore, because we just no. We have to stop with the labels and everything. But what is motivating me to come on here? Vulnerability is pushing me to come on here. I put a lot on my plate, and I've been pretending like I can do it all, and I will, and I'll learn from this. I'm not going to give up, but I will do it and learn from this. But I am definitely a very emotional person. Like, I can feel so much. If someone's having a bad day, I can feel it. If someone vents to me and talks to me, I can feel it, and it gives me such a unique perspective, because even though I don't know exactly what someone's going through, I can relate in some way, and that's like the benefit of being such an empathetic person. But it also has its challenges, and so for English, we got to pick our topic. And I've been asking people and reaching out, and I appreciate everybody's input so much. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. Yesterday, in order to motivate me, and it did a little bit, but it was hard, to motivate me to get focused on this paper, because I have a hard time focusing. I looked up my brother and all of his past charges, and he had videos of when he was arrested, and it was just really hard because I never watched this in a clear state, and ever since I've been writing this paper, it's been really bringing up a lot. So I know I'm gonna fight to really get such an unbiased paper, because this paper, at least I'm passionate about it, but it's hard. I'm fighting to talk about, to humanize, not criminalize people going in prison. And I know that's such a broad spectrum. I know that's such a conflict for a lot. And in order to fight that argument, I've been thinking about, well, how am I gonna really show that I can see both sides? And it came down to how much I really, really, really wanted justice for when I came out of the sexual abuse of my own father. And I was mad, and I was angry, and I fantasized about him being in prison. I fantasized about his death. And that was such a dark time for me. And so, doing all of this paper has been really hard, but I really needed to, feel all of this. 1 second. Okay, well, got some fresh air. Oh, man, it's easy to get into that spiral. I started thinking of so much negative. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. I can't right now. It's so easy to go into this negative mindset. I failed my test today, my exam. My paper was supposed to be due today. She pushed it up though, so there's a positive. But I should have had it done by tonight, which I feel like I really could. Should I just take the grace and have the ability to not have to finish my assignment tonight? Or I don't know. I'm just spitting this out right now. Luckily I know how to edit videos. So brain dump, Shannon. I've been reading all this research on animal therapy, and I'm just so glad that I'm thinking out loud, because it's not wasted research, but it has definitely helped me humanize people who have done awful things. And a big thing for me, for going through my grief of my own personal PTSD, is trying to put myself in that person's shoes. And that person just happens to be my father. But to put myself in someone's shoes who I don't even know, I mean, that's wronged me. I haven't experienced that. So that's a good point to put out. But since I do know my dad, is that why the ability to forgive is easier than most people? Is that why it's easier for me to humanize criminals? I mean, regardless, anybody going through childhood sexual trauma by your own father, or anybody. Like, see, here we go. We go into the whole, like, who has it worse? But, if anybody looked up my brother's name, they would just see a violent teenager who had a drug problem. Or a violent adolescent who had a drug problem. And they threw him into prison. And there's resources. There are resources. That is affirmative. But there's not enough data out there for these resources, which makes things like this hard. And there's a lot of other factors, like the reason why our prison reform is so high is because we have even personal or private, prisons and all the junk behind that. And then we have politicians who, they just go with what is going to make them look better. And, my fight is vulnerability, forgiveness, and it's not easy. Those things are not easy. Sharing shame, that's not easy. And the thing is if something that happened to my brother happens to me, would I have done what he did? I mean, I had the opportunity to, but I didn't. And the only a couple factors that changed his experience and my experience is he's male, I'm female, and I'm older and he's younger. I mean, those are the two biggest factors. So why didn't I go into the prison system? Because I was drinking a lot. I had a drinking problem. I mean, that was the first thought right now, actually, failing my test and all this emotions. Like, the first thing I wanted to do was just go and just grab a bottle of wine, because I'm not a big drinker. And I need to relax. I need to decompress. And then again, like, that's the whole relying on something else rather than Jesus to heal me right now. And it's really hard saying that stuff out loud, but I have to hold myself accountable. And people ask me, how do you show up? How do you do what you said you're going to do? And I don't show this side. So I might actually show this video, but I don't show this side. Like, I do struggle. Because life's hard and you just want to relax. And okay, there's a difference. I'm not saying people can't drink. That's not my goal. My goal is just for people to be aware mindfully. And mindfully, I want to heal right now, and my normal habit is just grabbing a glass or two of wine, and sometimes it's not just a glass or two. So in order to heal and be mindful, I just have to stay away from it. Okay, this is going on almost 10 minutes, but I appreciate you guys being patient with me right now as I brain dump this. So yeah, then I started thinking about like life coaches, and I do have a few articles, which is funny because I might actually be able to use them now. But life coaches in prison, because my brother said a few things to me, okay? The first thing was the animal story he told me, and I get it. There's manipulative people in prison, and my brother has definitely manipulated me once upon a time. But guess what? Homegirl goes to therapy, and I know my boundaries way better than I used to. So when he told me this story, some people were like, "Oh, that sounds just like X, Y, and Z," and you'll see in a second. And it got me thinking and questioning, like, really, did he make that up? And once you hear the story, like, you can just tell it genuine. That you can just tell when people are lying or not lying. You really can. When you give your faith to God, and then when you really just want to see the best in people. So, before people want to say the story isn't true, I don't even think that's going to be a thing, but I don't know. Here I am doing all stakeholders of my argument paper, so now I want to do all stakeholders of who's going to respond to this. My brother was not loved as a child, and I might have been, or we've loved, my Nana loved us. She passed away, so that's another thing that's hard right now. That's another thing that's been in my heart. And then, talking about PTSD, we have anniversaries of people we lost and on my deployment, and I don't talk about it because I wasn't at the actual event of when it happened. Like, I wasn't in the action, so I don't feel like I have any say. But I'm such a, I was still there. I was still overseas. I still had to leave my son in 4 months. And I still have friends who are very close, and I was close to one of them. But then again, I don't talk about those things because I don't have pictures with all of them. I was a mom, so I wasn't out at the bars. But I sure was when we got back from Afghanistan. I'm trying to forgive myself through that. But I don't even know where I was going with that, but anniversaries, Fahey, February 29th. Weaver's March 3rd. And I think, when you don't talk about these things, everybody, I don't know who's going to listen to this, but when you don't talk about these things, it adds up. And I know others have way more emotions than I do, but emotions are emotions. Hurt is hurt, and it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care what you've been through. If you've been hurt, it's going to hurt. And I think that's why a lot of us just stay quiet and don't talk about stuff, because we know other people have been through worse. So you bottle it all up, and when you bottle it all up, that's just not healthy. And so I'm vulnerable, and I share my things, and I share my shame, regardless of what I think people are going to say. It's not even if I'm afraid of what people are going to respond. I'm over that. I know that people aren't going to always relate with me, but to that small, maybe not even small, but to that group of people I can talk to and they can relate, it's important for me, and it's not easy. It feels so uncomfortable right now. But in my healing process, not only because of Jesus, and someone said it so perfect to me the other day, but it's not post-traumatic stress disorder. It's post-traumatic personal development, not PTSD, PTPD. Really, going through a traumatic events, multiple, because some of us are so lucky, having to look at what you learn from it, and it's not easy, and I'm still having my days. I'm not saying this is a cure-all thing for anything. I'm not saying that anything in here is a cure-all, but it's a cure me. This is my journey to my personal discovery, and I have been so blessed to be people's mentors, to inspire others. And that's why for a little bit I didn't share my struggles, because I didn't want to lose that. I don't want to lose the ability to help others. But if I can't be me, and I can't own me, and I can't really fully embrace the God-given talents and purpose God put in me, then I'm not doing anybody justice. So when I'm not talking about my struggles, I feel fake because I talk about sharing vulnerability and shame. So I don't know what this is gonna do for me. It might just be a good, well, at the end of the day, at least I vented. But if anybody, I don't know how this is everywhere. I don't know how this is gonna relate to anybody, but I don't know. This is just some food for thought of why it's important to share hard stuff and why it's important to always work on your personal development. Like, I don't care how squared away you think you are. Personal development is your battle buddy. I'm not even kidding. And then through that, you're going to meet the most amazing freaking people in your life. And you're going to connect with the most amazing freaking people in your life. And it stems from personal development. So no matter what you're going through, it is not your fault. Like the blame, the unworthiness, you know, the shame, none of that is your fault. Mental health, none of this is your fault. But for the grace of God put in all this in you, it is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to heal. And, you know, sometimes it's just not people's time. And so others are going to be really upset or negative. And I will love you to the end of time because I just have that in me. And I've learned self-care to know my boundaries to remove myself out of situations where I feel drained and used, but to also use this as tools to help others. So there's my brain dump. There's it's usually Thursdays, but Tuesday tips, I forget what I've been calling them. Shout out to something that you're going on through, or something that you're going through life. Shout out to what's stopping you. Shout out to why you're feeling stuck or you don't feel like you have a purpose. Like, just throw it all out there. And I don't know, you can mark on me, you can whatever. If you just want that one-on-one talk, or if I can't be that person, find that person. Hopefully this inspired you. I know I have silent people too that watch stuff of mine, which thank you, because I know you're there. I pray for you. Oh, my gas just turned on. Whoo! Yeah. That's all I got. And I'm eventually going to get better at this, guys, okay? Just stick with me through this personal development journey of mine. I'm just hoping that it inspires other people to really embrace the person that God meant you to be. And that's my next content, I think. Like, how to find that. So, catch you guys on the flip side.